Design Salvation, Episode 15.
This is Design Salvation, your lifeline to better design with Dixie and Annie. Our mission is to share our conversation with you so we can all elevate our work and lifestyle. Welcome to the fold.
Hey, y'all, it's Dixie Stark,
Hi, it's Annie Lundquist.
and we are Design Salvation.
We sure are, and we're glad to be chatting with you today.
Yes, we are. We're going to talk about all things paper.
Paper. We have a shared obsession, a happy shared obsession.
We absolutely do.
Mhm.
Yeah, obsession might be even just a nice way to phrase it.
Yes.
Because we both love paper so much. As a matter of fact, when we were kind of thinking about today, what did we do?
we
Little
decided,
research?
we decided we had to do research. So we jumped in the car and went to the cutest little paper store close by.
Yeah.
And then there was another cute store next door that we had to do research in. And then we had to
Yes.
research the lunch place.
Oh, yes.
And then we had to research the cute little beach town.
Yeah, we had to
Oh,
drive around and look at the
we worked
houses
hard.
because that's what we do.
That's what we do. It was
More
all
research.
work related. It was
It was
work related.
all work related. It was exposure to all things good, all things luxury.
Yes.
We were enjoying it. But it is funny because we both really love paper. We love beautiful paper to hang on the walls. We love beautiful paper to, write on, correspondence, use every day.
Mhm.
And, we're all about recycle though. We did
Right.
talk about that.
Yes, because
Well-
I have my board here
Yes.
that we both have our decorated boards that are
I know, it's kind of fun.
in the style of Dixie and the style of Annie, kind of our little
And they're
whatever
two totally
quirky
different
things.
boards.
They're
That's
very
for sure.
different. But I have my Italian hand blocked paper on mine, and plus I have like this little itty bitty snippet of marbled Italian paper that I can't bear to get rid of because I love the tones in it. All
You're
those
like,
little
I can't
its and
get rid
bits.
of it. Hey,
Mhm.
it's inspiration.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't
Truly.
say I'm a hoarder, but I'm definitely a saver. If I get a
Mhm.
really interesting piece of paper or I love the weight of it or the graphics or whatever it is, I'm pretty bad to save it.
I'm kind of a hoarder.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
You're
I am.
fessing up.
On
Confession.
both paper, color, font. Oh my
Oh, I know.
gosh.
It's all
Give me
about
a
the
good
fonts. I mean, we could talk about this for days and days
Mhm.
and days.
hmm
I've got my little postcard over here. It's of Frida Kahlo.
That's cool.
It was when I went to the art museum and
Mhm.
saw her exhibit, and it's got the two chihuahuas in it. And I'm like, it's
Yeah.
on really good paper.
No, well, my little project area at home is all about paper. So
That's fun.
people used to
I don't
always.
think I've seen I'm sorry, I
Oh, maybe
interrupted
not.
you, but I don't
No,
think
no.
I've seen that.
It's down in my laundry room, so you probably have.
No, I haven't
It's a
seen it.
little corner of my big laundry room. It used to be sort of the thing to have a wrapping room.
Well, if your kids are younger, for sure.
Right, but the wrapping has kind of gone by the wayside because now
I think
everyone
recycle
plops things in bags.
and bags. You're right. That's actually a very good point.
But for me, it was all the papers that I loved, all the ribbons that I loved, all these little tiny bits and bits of cards with pretty pictures on them that I love that are
Did you have
Well
them
printed.
displayed, or were they just more like organized?
both.
Like a
I
little
have
bit of
both.
both.
I have
Okay.
a pin board, and then
Oh,
I'll
okay.
take a
All
picture of
that.
it.
Okay, you
It's kind
do
of
it.
yummy. I like it.
Okay, so you still have that.
It's just like
You
my
just don't
happy zone.
Utilize it as much.
I use it differently now.
Oh,
I use
well,
it differently.
there's nothing wrong with that because
No.
our lives evolve and you use spaces differently. We talk about this all the time
Mhm.
as interior designers. So there is nothing wrong with that.
Well, and I still love to wrap.
oh, I
but-
do too.
And
do too. I take great pleasure and
Yes.
pride in my wrapping.
I do, but we just do less of it. It's a
Ugh.
funny thing.
Well, and I'm such a nut. I won't even throw big blueprints away that I get for projects, and I'll use those for wrapping gifts.
That's so clever. And I could see that. That would look. That's so you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, it works, and it's really good for bigger gifts than it is for the smaller items, but it works for that too. But it makes me feel good because I'm like, okay, I have not just thrown all of these floral pans into the recycle bin. I've actually recycled them, which makes me feel I
love
better.
to use just the brown craft paper and then just add all sorts of whatever to make it interesting.
Well, see, if it's brown craft paper, you can use it for holiday. You can use it for birthday. I mean, it doesn't matter. Birthday, happy gift, a little happy you're going to give somebody or whatever. But I've also done that around the holidays. I've used newspaper. Because, I mean, again, it's kind of just a graphic thing and you can put any kind of beautiful ribbon or, I don't know, a sprig of rosemary or holly or whatever it is on it. And I've used funny papers. Yeah. The cartoons.
Sure.
Well, I learned that from Jay.
Your wallpaper here in a way, in terms of the graphic sensibility.
Yeah, because it's all of the posters that Jay had at the record store and from concerts and stuff. And that's a really good point about if you have the right old-fashioned wheat paste, you can put any paper up on the wall. If the wall is prepped and smooth, you can pretty much put any paper up on the wall. So like your little marbleized paper that you have over there.
Yes.
I mean,
So that would be like, it'd be like decoupage in a way.
Exactly. And
cool.
This is kind of in that.
So did they just put each poster up individually and then Jay just said, okay, now I want to, was he here to sort of do the whole layout?
We actually laid all of these out in advance and there were some that needed to be trimmed and others that didn't. And we were the ones that said, overlay this one on top of that one, but this one up next to that one.
That must have taken some time.
It took us a lot of
time.
Space. But it was so worth it because there were certain graphics that we wanted to be present. Like you might have a poster that, one graphic is better than the other, or one looks better overlaid than the other. And so, or one wraps around the corner better than the other. But paper has just always been a huge part of my life. I love to do calligraphy.
I do, which I always admire, but I can't.
Well,
I haven't tried. I really haven't tried it, but I'm not sure I have the.
I think you would like it. You could even take a class with me, one time because they actually do it and they always have a lovely drink like a mimosa or
so it's sort of sophisticated.
It's very fun and it's usually in the evening and it's limited to like 6 or 7, people at a time. So you're getting individual attention from the instructor, but I've had a really hard time. I know the very traditional, like Celtic looking calligraphy, and that works really well for me. The way you hold the pen, and it's very precise and it's very architectural in some regards because I know architectural lettering, and I had to be so like precise about that in school and beyond. The modern calligraphy, I'm like, holy moly, it's much more free flow and it's almost like, you play tennis and you can't break your wrist. Well, in modern calligraphy, you're breaking your wrist. And when you're doing more of like a very architectural calligraphy, you are very strict with how your wrist movement.
So maybe I'd be better at modern anyway, because I'm a little hard to
pin
down and control.
Yes, you would probably do way better with modern, whereas I do a lot better with the much more strict. And I don't even know that there's a name, maybe traditional.
Maybe you just need 2 mimosas before you start the calligraphy class.
That's exactly what I need, because it is one of those things that you do need to relax.
Yes.
You do not need to have tense shoulders and everything when you're doing your writing. So you are right. I probably need 2 to 3.
And I probably need a half.
Correct.
Okay,
so let's just plan on that.
That'd
be
super
do
fun.
It. We're definitely going to do
plan.
it.
I love that.
I have an obsession with all the pens.
You do.
One of the things that I am cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when I'm like doing any sort of writing, if I write somebody a note or whatever it is, it's like, gotta have a good pen. But I love those Le Pen. Do you know what those are?
It's, yes.
The little micro point. I think they're from Japan. Le Pen.
Le Pen.
I'm wanting to. Okay, so I'm trying to say it fancy, and
you're
I can't
saying
say it.
La Pen, aren't you?
I don't know
Maybe
what
not.
I'm saying.
It's Le Pen.
But I love them. They come in all these different colors, and the other thing I like about them is that they're really petite, and so they're easy for smaller hands to manage.
Yeah,
but
they're
anyways.
not for everybody. I
No,
quite
they
like
aren't.
them, but they're not. Yes, they are. They really do.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'm
beautifully.
I love pens though. I like this other brand too. I know you know, I may have given you one. It's the
You have.
Cake Cow. I don't know what you call them, but
It starts
they're
with a K.
Yeah, it starts
I know
with a
that.
K. Anyways, lovely pen that
Mhm.
has a really great tip on it. And I think that that's really important. So if you combine that with a nice sturdy paper,
Well, if you are sending a note,
Right.
which very few people send anymore,
I know, it's always email.
if you have a beautiful piece of stationery, the last thing it wants is some not pretty
Junky
handwriting.
pen. Yeah.
Junky pen and junky handwriting. And I don't know about you, but my handwriting improves 100,000,000% with the right pen.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Mine too.
So it's fun
Well,
to write on beautiful paper
it is.
and then have the right pen, and then it all looks pretty. And,
and
it
it's a
looks like
presentation.
Yeah.
We're all visual. That's what we're,
Mhm.
I mean, that's what we're wanting. And I find that I'm really good to stick to a list if I have a good notepad. And I'm obsessed. I have this notepad from, what's it called? Black Ink Los Angeles or Black Ink LA or something like that. But it's a nice piece of.
Oh, it's that thicker paper.
It's the
it's
thicker
really
paper.
nice.
It's a nice
and the
piece of
scale
paper.
of the
It's-
pad is perfect. I have one too.
Okay, so
Someone gave it to me and I love it.
the best. Love that.
We
love,
should
love,
link
love,
to
love,
that.
love. Yeah, we can probably link up to that. And, even just a to-do list, if it's on a nice piece of paper, I seem to pay more attention to it than if it's just like on junky paper.
I think it's really fun. I don't think we should have to, I like to, with work, stick to the same things where I write stuff down that makes sense to me. But I think in terms of day to day, too, sometimes with our whatever our grocery list or something, you kind of need to shake it up. Like, what's going to work for me? And sometimes it's that because we all are making lists.
Right.
I love lists. They're sort of essential, but sometimes it is. Oh, I put that on that pretty paper. Or,
I
can't
remember.
wait. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
remember.
have
Mhm.
a memory of what you wrote down or at least the paper that it was on. So I think that that's really important. Now, you love paper so much that you love some of the Italian marbleized stuff. And we just touched on that a little bit because you were talking
Yes.
about the
So I like the marbleized, and I also love the hand blocked. That's more like the piece I have on my screen
your
like
paper.
this.
Yeah, that's really good.
And I also, what I really, really love is the cartonnage, which is the
Cartonnage. Here we go with our
Cartonnage.
fancy words again.
Yes. And that is that art of, wrapping it beautifully around boxes
yeah.
and, how they make little picture frames out of it. And I have even a waste paper bin in my house that's with beautiful marbleized paper.
So
And
beautiful.
So they just wrap it so perfectly. It's
They
so
even do
satisfying.
pencils.
They do pencils. I love all that stuff. When my sister-in-law and I were in Italy, we must have gone in every paper, and they're all over, and they're all fabulous.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful craft, and it just makes the presentation and the visual just that more interesting and beautiful. But you have to have a pretty smooth substrate to actually
you do
put those papers on.
It's
anything.
true, and it's
like,
not
It's not
something-
like what we used to do when we were kids, where you decoupage, where
Yeah.
you put it all on and you just
it's
layer
not
it
like
up
that.
with the
This
wheat
is
paper.
super precise.
Yeah, this is very, very precise and so beautifully done. It's
There
truly
are
a craft.
two on Instagram. There are two incredibly talented artists that I
Oh, really?
follow.
Do tell.
Yes.
I'm going to write this down. Seriously.
So the one
On a cool pad, of
is,
course.
Yeah, on a cool pad.
Yeah.
Is Scanlan Apparati.
Oh my gosh. How am I supposed to?
No, we'll have to put it in show
Okay.
notes.
All right.
By
So-
the way, you guys, the show notes they have a lot of nuggets in there.
There are some major nuggets
And I
in
don't
there
think we
because
tell
there's-
people to go there enough.
We don't. And you should because they're really good. Like the recipes are always there.
Mhm.
The links about the things that we've talked about that if you wanted to purchase, you could. They're affiliate links from us, but that's, a very good resource to get you started on anything that we're talking about. And then sometimes we just give you like, we talked about this or we talked about that because it's one of those words or
Yeah, that's
person's
just-
name that there's no way you would ever know the spelling from just hearing
So we'll
it.
put these
on the
little
episode.
IG, the
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah.
Because there's beautiful work there. And the other one is Parum Opus. So we can link to those.
Okay, that's
Or not
fantastic.
link to
because
them, but just
yeah, just put them out there
Yeah.
so that if people want to follow them. And what are those both Italian or not?
well, Beth Scanlon, who's the first one I mentioned, she lives part-time, I think, in Oregon and part-time in Vienna.
Oh, really?
Or Zurich. I'm not sure.
Or Zurich,
so,
okay.
But her work is just, I love following her.
Really fun.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. So just makes your desk look better, too. If you have like the little letter holder that's in the cartonnage. And
it's just so pretty.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
So pretty. And of course, I love any of the old books that have all the marbleized papers in there. And I know that marbleized paper became very popular over the past, several years in terms of like wall covering.
I know. That's so true. There are a bunch of people who are doing a decent version of it.
And yeah, they're doing a pretty good version of it. And, one of the places that I really like to use something like that is in the back of a bookcase.
Yes. So appropriate and fabulous. That's a great idea.
It's appropriate because, again, it's, the marbleized book, kind of markings that set the backdrop, I guess, if you will. But
that's a cool idea. I've wallpapered some bookcases in like a texture, like a grass cloth, which has been a good look. But I love that idea of putting the actual marbleized.
I know
that's a really good idea.
I know. See, I think that's fun. But going back to wallpaper, I mean, it doesn't have to be wallpaper. It can be ceiling paper. A lot of people forget the ceilings.
I've done great results there. I'm sure you have too. Fun.
Great results. High impact by putting paper on the ceiling.
I just did a powder room with a wonderful wall of green toile paper, chinoiserie, and then the ceiling was completely different. It was super fun and quirky.
I
super
love
happy.
That.
Very happy.
Love that.
Oh, you know what? The other thing was we also wrapped a kitchen little office cubby. The doors would close over it, but when you open it, it's all wrapped in that cute wallpaper. So then all the letters and all the daily debris looks better.
It looks so much better because, it's got a backdrop that actually anchors it and gives it interest in the whole thing, which, even really cool shelf liner paper.
Yummy.
I mean, I know that we now have a lot of the drawers have already got their beautiful, finished maple. And, most of the cabinet manufacturers are coming up with that now. And you don't have to put the shelf paper in or the drawer liner paper. But wow, what an impact it makes if you really want to kind of just go, little aha moment to open that up and see it pretty.
Or literally upholstering those interior drawers and then putting the GIMP on there. I think we talked about that in one of the very first episodes when we were referring to that book, Fifth Avenue Design. Slotkin. Yeah.
Yes.
Those kind of details. The little happy design detail that just makes you go, oh, they really, really care.
Exactly. And the beauty's in the details. I'm not kidding you. I mean, it really is. It's all about details. But, there's a couple of brands out there that I'm kind of attached to. Are there brands that you're attached to?
Yes. In fact, you know what? You and I both love, I think, for the little written note card. I think we love the same brand, which is that G Lala.
Oh, yes.
Plus, it comes in the best little box.
I used to carry that in my showroom.
Yeah, I see. We've known each other longer than we think. Dixie.
I know. And I love that collection, and it just continues to just be so sophisticated and timeless. But it's that paperweight, it's that texture, it's that deckled edge.
Yes, and then it's not too fussy. Pinator is a beautiful, expensive brand. Expensive. G Lala is a little more accessible.
Yeah, it's a little more accessible, and it's
okay. But I do have a confession.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it. Are you ready?
I know. Why am I always seriously?
I don't know.
I have more flaws.
No.
Yes, I do.
Oh, yes, no. You're just more willing to admit them. But I want to hear this confession, so you just go down that path.
Thank you notes are so important and wonderful. And,
they really are.
And I clearly, because I like beautiful paper, I love to get my pens out and write them. And then I struggle with mailing that last step. And particularly, so you know how the day after Christmas, you say to your kids, okay, honeys, let's get our little paper out that you got, our little note cards that you got for Christmas in your stocking and start to write your thank you notes. And so my kids would write all their thank you notes and bring them to me. And somehow, literally, they're still popping up because I will forget to mail them. They'll get shoved aside. I still have some in their little scrawly kids' handwriting that I'm handing off to Gaga and Grandpa and saying, this is maybe from quite a while ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, no,
your
so
kids
bad.
are in college.
My kids are in college. And
you're telling me that you are still finding thank you notes that you never mailed?
Yes.
That's a kick in the britches because that's crazy pants, girl.
I know, and their grandparents still love them.
Did you hoard them? Did you stash them because you thought they were so cute and you didn't want to mail them?
No. It's just...
So it's not that bad of a confession. It's just a disorganization confession.
Yes.
Oh, man, that's serious. You know, when I was growing up, my mom would be like, you cannot use this until you write your thank you note.
Yeah, that's what
one. She'd do.
That's a good one.
And so I always, all of my life, have handwritten thank you notes. I will make my confession. I would say in the past 5 years, I've gotten lazier and lazier and lazier, and I haven't written the thank you notes, and I've just sent a text or
I know, honey. And as we all do. That's what I'm saying. There's less wrapping of boxes. We stick it in a bag, and we don't write the actual note. We send the email or the text.
Yeah. And I'm embarrassed to say that. And I also, going back to just paper and wrapping, you know, you talked about, okay, now we use gift bags, and I will often use an item like a basket or a bucket or whatever it is to put something cool in. But I also have gotten now for my nieces and my nephew, and I just can order it online and send it direct and let them wrap it and let them, you know, put the little card in it that says Love Aunt Dixie. But that's just naughty. That's a confession. I just confessed.
Okay,
are you feeling better? Because I just confessed.
Kind of, although I would say that I think that 90% of the people out there already have that confession. I think mine is far worse, but I appreciate that you're sharing reality with us.
Well, I know, but still, I mean, you know, it's all in the name of outing ourselves for the greater good, right?
It's well, we want this to be a community where we are supportive, and we want it to be a community in which we strive to elevate. So that is why we share our confessions, so that we can do better. Oh, we're going to elevate.
I have a confession.
Okay.
I don't think I've told you this, but so let's back up for 2.2. Annie loves fabric of all sorts. So not only does she have a paper obsession, but she has an obsession with fabric, as we all do. So Annie always has these lovely linen napkins. You always have you know, when you live with them every day, that's all you use or whatever. But if you come over to my house, you're going to see a lot of paper products. And my confession is
we do use paper napkins here. Why do we use paper?
Okay.
It does seem a little different than you.
Than who I really am.
Yeah.
Okay, so the confession is is it really a confession? I don't know. Maybe it's not. But anyways, the reason I use more paper these days is because my father-in-law, when we first got married, they did not live in the area. And so my father-in-law and my mother-in-law would come and visit us for long periods of time. And they would stay with us, of course. And I got into some phase of having to always host Thanksgiving. If anybody knows me, that is just dragging me through the dirt. And so anyway,
I love Thanksgiving.
I did it.
Good girl.
I persevered and I did it and I did it well. But I would set this amazing table. I'm not kidding you. It was so beautiful.
No doubt.
I had all my linen napkins, most of which were monogrammed. You know, I had it all dolled up. But I also served a lot of the other meals while they would stay with us with these linen napkins and all this. And I noticed that my father-in-law would always get up and go to the kitchen and find a paper towel.
What?
Yeah. So he would go and find a paper towel and fold a paper
Instead
towel
of your beautiful...
and never use the napkin.
Really?
Well, come to find out, and of course, it's starting to make sense now because when I registered, when we got married, I had all these beautiful linens, table linens, napkins, all this kind of stuff in my registry. I didn't get a thing from Jay's side of the family that was tableware in that regard. He does not like cloth napkins. I don't know why. He just doesn't. I don't know if it weirds him out or what the deal is.
Thinks
but
it's
he wants
not like
sanitary, I guess is the only thing I can think of. I don't know.
Huh.
And so he always likes a paper napkin. So if you come to my house now and I'm serving Jay's side of the family or we're doing whatever,
You
it
just do
is
paper. Yeah.
napkin. And so then that rolled me into those little cute cocktail napkins that you get from like Caspari. I don't know if I'm even saying it right.
But you always have cute ones that make sense. I actually like the change up that you do.
Yeah, I like switching it up. If I'm going to be forced to use paper napkins, because I had even cute little linen and cotton
I'm so
cocktail
sure
napkins.
you do.
But the Caspari's great because I can get stripes and I can get prints and all that kind of good stuff, and it kind of like makes me happy. But that's another thing. Paper.
I can't. I hate paper. Paper
I
napkins
know you
give
do.
me the willies. Not the cocktail ones, but the ones that you eat with. And
yeah, if you're just
on my hands, it gives me the willies.
Everybody's different.
Yeah,
not the willies.
Funny.
You're gonna hurt his feelings.
Oh, okay. It gives me the
creeps.
Well, that's a little strong.
Okay, maybe. The woolies.
The woolies.
Well, he's also woolly, but anyways, whatever. But I know what you're saying. Yeah. Like, there's certain things that, and I do have the creepy crawlies, if you will, if the paper has got a weird texture. Like, I don't like certain magazines that have bad paper.
It just seems too dry to me.
Yeah.
And if someone next to me is playing with a paper napkin, I will literally jump out of my skin.
Because you don't like that sound?
No. Yeah, no.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so, we are interior designers, sweetie, and we have been rather meandering here.
Okay, off the path. Okay.
And actually, did you happen to see, you haven't seen it yet, but someone sent us a really nice compliment on our podcast, a little fan, which was super sweet. And they said that we meander through the podcast, which I thought was so appropriate.
Oh, meander. That's a really nice way of saying it.
We do. But I think as interior designers, we should probably speak a little more directly to wallpaper.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Let's regroup, come back. What are your favorites? What are some of your favorites? I think we've used some of the same stuff.
Well, of course, I love the really, really high-end, Dugournay.
Who doesn't love Dugournay?
No, there aren't that many applications or clients who are prepared to do that, but it's super special. And my dad and his wife actually did their whole bedroom in it, and it is really, really stunning. And that's a very fun.
It is. Well, if those of you that don't know that line, it comes in these panels, and they actually call them cartoons when you're developing the panels, and the panels obviously have a mural story, if you will, just like a cartoon. And so I think their maximum is a story is 14 or 16 panels.
Something like that.
I'm not
I don't
sure.
quite remember yet.
But then you piece all of those together and they create that lovely.
It's so fun. And the Dugournay line is particularly special. When I was in Paris a few years ago at the Deco Off, Dugournay, they always have an event and they have a little brunch, and you get to go in the showroom and then go upstairs to their little apartment, which they purchased that showroom so they could have the apartment and then create sort of a living environment to show off.
That is so
different
smart.
Dugournay. And it is luscious. The photographs do not do it justice, but I will find some and post them because it was so evocative.
Magical.
It was magical. We had this beautiful table layout brunch, and then it was standing. It was like buffet. It wasn't like a sit down or anything.
Sure.
But it was just so dang.
And you're in
fun.
Paris of all places.
And we're in Paris.
Of course.
And so I love that whole.
Well, you know what's so interesting about Dugournay is Dugournay is one of the very few lines that if it's put up appropriately by your installer, it can be removed.
Yes, you can take it with you.
Yes.
Very successfully.
You can take it with you. You can take it down, and you can send it back to them, I believe, and they can reback it.
That's exactly right.
But I had the pleasure when I was working on a show, I guess you'd call it townhouse. Well, it was a penthouse in this gala a while back. I used vintage Dugournay, and it had been taken down and put up and taken down and put up numerous times, and it worked like a charm.
It just looks better and better too.
It
gets more and more patinaed. Oh my goodness!
Now they also do their paper on silk. It's not just always paper. They do a silk.
They do
and
a
then
silk.
It's backed.
Yes, exactly.
But
And then they have
a
bunch of more modern scenarios now too. Like they have a whole I mean, their product line
It's like a silver leaf looking thing.
They have the
and a
silver
gold
leaf one. They have the Korean line and the Japanese line.
The
and
koi. Have you seen the koi?
The koi are wonderful, particularly in the Northwest. I think
they're
like
so
that
perfect for
resonate beautifully. Yeah.
So beautiful. You know, there's some knockoffs, or maybe not even knockoffs of that, but I think they do it the best.
I think they do it the best too. We've looked at all the other brands, and there are some lovely hand painted ones.
There are.
I mean, I think Gracie is fantastic.
Oh, I do too. Frommenthal's really nice too.
Frommenthal's nice too. It has a different whole
It does have a different vibe.
Vibe.
It totally does.
They're all great. And then the other little quirky line that I love is Antoinette Poisson. And she does the domino papers.
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't say she because it's actually a company. It's not really
She's
an Antoinette.
The designer.
She's not even. It's a little group, and they've named themselves Antoinette Poisson.
I didn't even know that. I haven't used them.
But the domino papers are springing up everywhere. And I think now, too, what's that cool showroom we love in New York with all the,
that I love in New York.
Oh my gosh. Oh, John Darien. He carries the papers now too. So you can go see, and then they do the cartonnage too out of the domino papers, but super expensive, but oh my gosh, it's so just fun.
It adds such a layer of depth, and then you can get texture from that. And, speaking of texture though, there's some great papers that are just like these natural weaves. If you're wanting something that's less printed and you're wanting something like just a little bit more on the kind of natural, a lot of people on the West Coast really like that.
They love those. And I do. I think that the wall has so much more depth when you have wallpaper, if it's a plain.
Even if it's
you
just
cannot get that with paint.
No, you cannot. And I know paint is an easy, quick, affordable fix. And I'm all about it when you have not the resources to do paper, but if you can do paper, I've never not liked paper, even when it was out of fashion in the 90s.
I totally agree. And I know people just screw up their little faces over it because if they wanted to change it, it just seems so hard, but it's gotten so easy now. The papers are dry hung a lot of times, and so it's much easier to change them out, and it just blows paint away. Unless you can afford to do the glazed or plaster walls or a lime wash, which I love all of that.
Oh, I do too.
For straight paint, you can't get any depth out of it. You will never get depth out of paint.
You're much better off to layer it up with the paper. And I like the Philip Jeffries line. I love the Cannon Bullock line, and they're local.
So you showed me that picture. For years I had I still have it on my favorite notebook, where you put your sort of vision board kind of thing. I have a picture of the paper, the Cannon and Bullock with the ribbon across it. And you told me today that you had used that, which just blows me away.
I know.
We have to post that. It's so special.
It is so beautiful. And the pictures that I have probably won't do it justice.
That's okay.
But
just so they can get a sense of
the ribbon that is attached on the outside in this lovely
crisscross pattern, as if it's a pin board.
Isn't it that Midori kind of hand
silk ribbon, which is
painted or dipped silk? It's really fun. And then of course, Cannon Bullock is in Langley. They're on Whidbey Island, and they use a lot of mulberry paper, and they dry it out. But the way that you put that paper up is also kind of like the decoupage. It is literally your vision of how you want to lay it. If you want to hang, this way, that way. I think the pages are like 19 by 25 or something like that. And that's the way it ships to you. It doesn't come in a roll.
Yeah, that's like the domino papers, same way.
Yeah, exactly. So you put those,
you
put those as papers up. I know what you're talking about. And I just wanted to mention that because it's unconventional to what people think wallpaper is.
Right.
And there's just such a lovely plethora of things out there, because even 20 plus years ago, the technology of how to work with paper, how to digitalize it.
We'll talk about that digital powder room you did, because that is so charming.
Okay.
So yummy.
That's Ellie Cashman, and she's based out of London. And basically in hi to this client, if she hears this, this paper was blown up 200%. So there was an original, just normal size, botanical paper. And then they blew it up 100%. And that was one of their offerings. And then they blew it up 200%. And that was another one of their offerings. And that's the scale that we did it in this pretty decent size, but petite powder room.
Yeah.
And it was stun-arama. Stun-arama.
It's too bad it's so difficult to photograph powder rooms.
Okay, powder rooms are terribly difficult. Yeah. Even the paper that I have in my powder room, like you can't get an angle on the powder room to even like get a picture of it.
I have the same problem in mine, which is all hand painted, and you can't even get a good.
You can't even get a glimpse of it. A professional has to get in there and twerk and tweak and do and with a perfect lens. To get any sort. Well, no.
I hope he's not twerking.
I hope he's not either. Did I say that?
You did, babe.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean that. Okay, what did I mean?
Well, it's difficult. In any case, I think that little glimpse that you did show me, we should show them that little glimpse of that paper because it's very moody and yet happy.
It is very moody yet happy. It's not overtly feminine, but it's leans that way.
There are quite a few papers. Well, there's so much paper out there.
There's so much paper now. It's flooded.
A lot of it, I think, is too trendy.
I do too.
But I think
But again, you can switch it out.
You can switch it out. And if you're not doing some vast space in it, it's fun. I mean, let go a little bit.
Exactly. Not try to have everything so stinking perfect or so matchy. And you can accomplish that with paper.
Especially
See, I told you, we are obsessed with paper.
We are.
We really are. I mean, it's crazy pants. But, one of the quick fixes that I've done with some very inexpensive, I guess that's a great way to say it, inexpensive bedrooms, like for kids, is to actually frame pieces of wrapping paper.
Totally, because you can get great ones.
Vintage cards that have, all sorts of graphics on them.
I have done that
paper
too.
can really have an impact whether, we're talking about it on, the walls.
I did some of that at the men's clothing boutique that I did because we were on such
up on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, we were on such a tight budget.
Brilliant.
And I just took a bunch of cool paper things. Some of them I even color copied.
I haven't
really
seen
well.
that project. You didn't photograph that.
Oh, I did, but I didn't photograph all of it because,
Well, I know. Yeah. Sometimes we don't get around to doing that. That's one of those things that we are naughty about not doing.
No, I'm super naughty about that.
But
we'll go there another time.
That's a really great hack.
It's a good hack.
It's a good one to keep in mind when you are on a tight budget. And then the last thing that I was going to mention too is that I found when I went home, I found a paper that my brother had written when he was in 5th grade. And I sent it to my niece, his daughter, who's now a school teacher, and she framed it.
Aww.
And it's like, those are the things that it's like, again, this paper was just ratty, but there's something about it. So,
well, that's like your husband, Jay. You found all those wonderful cartoon drawings that he did. You've got to frame those.
I know.
He's
I don't know what I'm going to do with those.
I
don't know what I'm going to do with those. But there's something about paper that I just think kind of really speaks to all of us. But a couple of us in particular,
right? A couple of us in particular. Well, I hope you all kind of share a little bit of our obsession.
Yeah. It's a fun obsession, and it's something that we just wanted to share with you today. And we hope that you got some good information from it, which incidentally, go back to the show notes because we'll have more information about all the things that we talked about today and maybe a few little extras.
Maybe a few more, because I'm already thinking of a few other things we haven't even talked about yet on paper.
I know. We can put them in the show notes. Okay, and then that way, when you go to try to recap what we've talked about or take a couple of your own hacks, they will be there. And make sure you tell your friends.
Oh, yeah. Y'all, it's hard for us to ask you to.
It is.
Share
We're
us.
Not good at it.
Because we hope if you like us, you'll share us with your friends. That would be super cool.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. And maybe they'll learn something too. I don't know. Or maybe they'll laugh. I don't know.
Exactly.
But we appreciate it no matter what.
We do. We had a great day, Dixie. I loved the field trip and the lunch, and I forgot my wallet, so thank you. Thanks for...
I know where you live, and I know that I'm going to see you every week.
That's true.
Well, ciao for now.
Ciao for now.
Hey, y'all. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also find us at designsalvation.com, where we'll have the past podcasts listed as well as show notes. Hope to see you there.